Gives Rangers the chance to reopen their Premier lead to 4 points, well for 2.5 hours at least, with Celtic playing later on in the day. That's got to be priority number one for Alec McLeish and his team, despite lingering in the background those two huge matches in the UEFA Cup return against Victoria Žižkov and a certain game in the East End of Glasgow next Sunday. But Dundee United unconcerned about Rangers' current challenges. They've got challenges of their own to meet, and they make 3 changes from the team which beat Queen's Park in the CIS Cup on Tuesday. Danny Griffin, Craig Easton and Charlie Miller all return to action, but keeping their places in midfield, 2 teenagers, hat-trick hero in midweek Stephen O'Donnell and Mark Wilson as well.
United, I seen them play last week, Rob. They certainly will have to improve on that, but I like the look of their team down the right hand side. Stuart Duff at right back, he for me is a young player, very talented, great pace and great enthusiasm, and Stephen O'Donnell coming into play today after his midweek hat-trick, as he said. I know him, a young lad from coaching courses down at Lars in the summer. He's very skillful and very talented, so it'll be interesting for me to see how he's progressing. But the kingpin could be Charlie Miller for me. He's not the best defender, but last week at Tynecastle he was the one in the United team with a real threat going forward. He's the one that looks like scoring goals, and I can understand why Alex Smith pushed him further forward.
Charlie Miller, a former Rangers player. This is the current Rangers team, and it's the same team which beat Partick Thistle at Ibrox 3-0 last Saturday. Kevin Muscat was the only doubt pre-match, but he's okay. Arthur Newman and Neil McCann are back in training, but not quite ready for the first team, and Alec McLeish really has no need to rush them back either.
That's right, they obviously played very well last week, and for me the balance in the middle of the park is very important to Rangers. Fernando Rickson, he's the one with the determination, the ball winning skills and great fitness level getting about the park, and I like that to Barry Ferguson and Mikel Arteta. They've got the vision, the creativity to provide ammunition for the front three. Livingston with his pace is always going to be a threat, but I agree with Gordon in the studio. Ron de Boer, he's the one that makes Rangers tick. If he plays, I feel that Adverlaz will play well and Rangers will play well, and they'll be a threat going forward.
Well, Clark agrees with Smith. There's a shocker to get the afternoon underway. And there's the new Dundee United chairman, Eddie Thompson, who took control on Thursday, having bought out the majority shareholding. And United will hope now for a bit of stability in the boardroom, because there's been all sorts of uncertainty over a long number of years. And it's interesting to think that Eddie Thompson is the 4th chairman under which Alex Smith has managed in 2 years. It's Dundee United against Rangers, and Tannadice is a happy hunting ground for the Ibrox team. Remember, they clinched Premier titles here in 1976, 1990 and 1997. Lorenzo Amoruso back in the Rangers side, and well, he scored twice against Dundee United last season. Rangers scored 10 goals in all against the Tannadice team in the 3 games here. 6-1 is a scoreline United would want to forget almost exactly a year ago here. Stephen Thompson will play the main striking role for Dundee United. 3 goals in the last 3 SPL starts for him against Rangers, and he's United's top scorer this season with 4 in a side which is not scoring very many goals at all. Only 5 league goals for United this season, only 1 win, and that came at Pittodrie. John Rowbotham takes charge of the match, and Alec McLeish, his 40th game in charge of Rangers, and he's lost only once in domestic football. That's a fantastic record. Livingston beat Rangers at the tail end of last season. Other than that, it's been a couple of European defeats, and unbeaten Rangers in the league this season as they kick off here.
Alex Smith was confident, but Rangers got the best start, Gordon.
Oh, they were very positive to start with. They really took the game to Dundee United, creating a few chances. Livingston's normally a good finisher from these situations, just pulled it a little bit wide. It was disappointing. You could see him putting his hands to his head. Then what Dundee United came back into, that was a shot from Wilson. I think that had Stephen Cross scrambling across his goal. It was a decent effort, It's always worth to have the crack from there. Rather than taking on the Rangers' defence, long range shot, but just off target.
We mentioned that Dundee United's defending to high balls and set pieces. There's the goal.
Well, it's poor that, because they got to see Amoruso and people at Moore coming up as the threat, and they've got to get out and get closer and just stop him getting a free header like that. It's a great ball in. It's whipped in there. Amoruso makes a good run, but look at the number of defenders that are just standing, static and looking at that situation.
Now, you mentioned Stephen Thompson. He had a great chance to equalise straight a minute later.
I think this is Stephen Kloss gets the credit for this. I don't blame Thompson here, because it's just fantastic goalkeeping. Look at how he reads the situation, and he's there. He's 7 or 8 yards out from his line by the time that ball came. It was brilliant goalkeeping. And of course, Rangers had a penalty claim as well. I think I'm not sure whether there's if it's obstruction. It's an indirect free kick in the box, but that's definitely a foul. I mean, Warren Cummings has come across. Rick said, look, taking him out of the game. He's in possession of the ball, so I've seen them given for that. That could easily have been a penalty.
Yeah. Now this was Peter Lovenkrands get Phil here. Good link-up play with Barry Ferguson.
Yeah, at first I thought that he had committed a foul, but when I saw the replay, I agree with Sandy Clark on that one. Definitely the defender there. He's done well, Duff, in the first half. I think he's had a good first half. But watch this, he mistimed it. He sees Lovenkrands change direction, and then he loses his footing. It's a great effort.
Yeah.
Fantastic save, because everyone thinks that's going to be a cross in the box, including myself, probably Paul Gallagher too. That ball's just whipped in. He's shooting there, he knows what he's doing there. It's a great effort, very unlucky.
And of course the final blow there just before the full-time whistle in the 46th minute actually.
Well, see where Barry Ferguson is when he passes that, look, and there's a lot of time, he has to make up a lot of space. Ronald De Boer does brilliantly, because he just holds it, slots it into his path. Still a bit of work to do with the finish, and it's a great finish, but Barry Ferguson, tremendous play from him, because he's followed up there, and Ronald De Boer, he is calm, De Boer, in those sort of situations. Some people think he has to sharpen up a little bit, but he's waited for him to come and deliver the pass.
Who's covering that Ferguson run? No one.
No one's covered. They probably don't think they probably don't realise how dangerous that's going to be, because they take their eye off him. As soon as he plays a long ball like that, the last thing a defender thinks is, well, where's Barry Ferguson going? He thinks he's out of the game with the long ball. But he just kept going, and he got in the box.
And your key player, of course, De Boer, holding up there as well.
De Boer, I don't think De Boer's played as well as I expect him to, but he's laid on the goal. He's always tidy. He's made 1 or 2 mistakes in the game. Probably on the shade of it at the moment, I would say Arteta, probably Rangers' best player at the moment, but he's been tremendous in recent weeks.
Well, I tell you, Gordon, that De Boer goal is bringing him into the frame for the man of the match, because loads of text coming in from Rangers fans. De Boer is edging maybe slightly now with that goal there, but Lovenkrands got a few, but Arteta as well. So between Arteta and De Boer at the moment. In terms of emails, Grant from Falkirk says Rangers are playing like a quality side. If they carry on like this, and he's looking ahead, he says, I can't see Celtic matching them next week. Trevor Clydesdale from Northern Ireland, Rangers fan, he's having a go at John Robotham. Decision's very poor so far this afternoon, especially the Arveladze pullback. That should have been a red card for the United player. Alison Farmer from Larkhall, Rangers fan, decision by Robotham not to give a free kick on the edge of United box was so obvious, because he would have been compelled to send the defender off.
Rangers fan from Larkhall, that's unusual, isn't it?
Just briefly, interjecting back the big game in a minute. Remember the big shenanigans at Kilmarnock this week? Martin from Kilmarnock says Bill Costley may have put money into Kelly, but as a Kelly fan he should have handled his resignation a lot better. And Dundee United fans as well displeased. Graham Wright from Dundee, United fan, dire situation at United every season, stumble from crisis to crisis. We can't keep a clean sheet at home to a team of amateurs, and that through the week to Queen's Park, who were bored in the First Division. Wembley, the men in charge take notice. Laughlin, Cummings, McGowan have to go.
I thought he meant
Rangers. Not even playing today.
I thought he meant Rangers there when he said a team of amateurs, but he's referring to the Queen's Park game. I think that they have got problems. They've tried a lot of young players today. I mean, it's a new dawn at Dundee United, and you have to say that they've got to be given a chance. They're bringing in some young players today. Kevin McGowan's not playing. I'm quite surprised, because I think they might have defended the cross ball situation a bit better with Kevin McGowan playing, but they've been quite fortunate so far only to be a couple of goals down. But Dundee United, it will take time for them to build a team if they've got so many young players.
Will that please a new chairman today coming in, Eddie Thompson? Do you think what he's seen?
It'll not please them, no, I don't think so. The performance won't, but the fact that they're playing a lot of young players and bringing through young players might be just the thing that encourages Eddie Thompson for the future.
Okay. Thanks very much indeed. Dundee United had to defend well, and at the start they didn't really, losing this first goal.
Yeah, from their point of view, they lost bad goals, because you've really got to look at the players who are going to be a threat at set pieces. One of them would be Lorenzo Amoruso. Somebody's got responsibility to pick him up. They haven't done it, and he's got in with a fine header, I've got to say, because he's made good movement there. and he's glanced away. Great free kick from Arteta. Arteta was very prominent in the game, as was Barry Ferguson. Second goal, great ball from Barry Ferguson. Ron de Boer chase it, looks as if he's taking too long to put it in, but look, he's sizing up the situation, then he slides a lovely pass into the path of Barry Ferguson, who made a great run, and he's run 50 yards to get there, and he slots it away. And it's an excellent goal. Just before half time, I think that killed off Dundee United.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we mentioned Ronald de Boer, and he got into that space. We picked him as a key player, and into the second half as well. He got a chance early on in the second half, and he waited well for that goal, but he waited perhaps a bit too long for it on this occasion.
Possibly because he was struggling. Barry Ferguson's played a great ball again, but he's got a defender coming back has forced him to take his first touch, but there I think he was raining down, and he was injured at that point, so he was struggling at half time. Alec McLeish said it, he was struggling at half time. You can see there, I think he wants to chip the goalkeeper, but the defender getting back, Warren Cummings, who's had a fine game I thought today, just put him off, and he had to hold it. So not at his best today, Ronald de Boer, but maybe the knee injury played a part in it.
And of course the third goal, which was decisive as well, Shota Arveladze. And what's the statistic you were telling us when he scored this goal?
Well, Arveladze, I mean, people say that he's not a natural goal scorer, but Arveladze's actually got the best stats of any player in Scottish football in league games, goals for league games over his career. And I include Henrik Larsson in that.
Really?
Say, if you want to check it, Shota Arveladze's got a better scoring record than Henrik Larsson. Not been scoring that many this season, but today he got on the goal score sheet again. For
appearances, of course. And Dundee United, they weren't just there to make up the numbers, they did their chance as well. And Stefan Klos was good holding that out.
Dundee United were better in the second half, a lot more purposeful. I don't know whether it was because Rangers had eased back a little bit, having a 2-goal lead. But they were always looking for another goal to kill it, Rangers. But certainly Dundee United worked a lot harder in the second half, and Alec Smith will be a lot happier with their performance there. The good performance of young players like O'Donnell, Cummings, as I said before. Young Stuart Duff stuck to his task well. He had 1 or 2 fouls on Livingston, and he had a real hard afternoon, but it'll be a good experience for the boy.
Yeah, absolutely. Good experience for all of them.